So hello, everyone. This is the Peace Prize, which was won by Cristina Machado of Venezuela. So we have quite a lot about Venezuela in this as well. She's a remarkable woman. She beat Trump out, which we'll talk about too. He was not all that happy about him not winning. He was kind to her, but my guess is he may get it this year. But yeah, well, we'll see. I had something here. Well, rather than mess around with this, I have a quote which I may run at the end of just Trump. Why did that happen? I'm not sure why that happened. No.
Down the right-hand side.
Yeah, we're not back where we were though. I had trouble getting there earlier.
Can you double click on the image? Okay. Bring it up.
No,
Okay.
we had a lot of trouble getting. Oh, here we go. Sorry. I think I'll just get into the show. All right. So this is a sculpture, large sculpture in Caracas, which commemorates the oil riches that came to Venezuela and made huge difference in this will go smoothly. The whole presentation is a little choppy, I have to warn you at the beginning, just because of the way things happened with this prize and with Maduro in Venezuela, the dictator, who interfered with a lot of things along the way. So this confusion at the beginning will perhaps be justified by the end. I think, what was the movie, The Marigold thing, where the guy keeps saying, if things are confused now, don't worry, it'll all work out in the end.
Best
So,
exotic marigold hotel.
Which was it?
Best exotic marigold.
Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. So like him, I'm hoping that in the end, things will work out. So yes, huge oil producer. Venezuela, you may not realize it, but it's the #1 oil producer in the world, which I was not aware of. It's ahead of Saudi Arabia. It has enough oil reserves to last for 1,743 years at present consumption. It produces something called heavy sour, which doesn't convert easily. It can be converted to gasoline, but not easily. But it's mostly used for diesel and to make asphalt. It's number 2. Number 2 is Saudi Arabia, which is behind them by about 10%. So they're a significant producer of this particular kind of oil, which, as I say, can be converted to gas, but not easily. Anyway, clearly the country is proud of it. And the Nobel Prize went to, I'm sorry, we're going to meet the man who started the prize. And it was supposed to go to the person who's done the most, the best work for fraternity between nations, abolition and reduction of standing armies, and for holding and promoting peace congresses. Does anyone know how this man made his money? Can you remember?
Dynamite.
Restaurants? Dynamite, that's right. Dynamite. So he was paying his dues. I'm going to review some of the people who've got it in the past to give you a clear idea of how important it was. This is Martin Luther King. Clearly, he thought it was a great recognition of nonviolence and the need for man to overcome oppression and violence without resorting to violence and oppression himself. I'm going through these because it's important to see how, I think, how the award has been made for different purposes. So that was 64. In 2020, it went to the World Food Program, quite different, and they fed 124 million meals, people rather, now do that. And they have funds of $18 billion, so very significant. And they got it for that reason, for feeding the world. That click too. Yes, 21, Maria Risa Dmitry Muratov, safeguarding freedom of expression, precondition for democracy and lasting peace. Significantly different, obviously. So if you're planning to get one, it doesn't too much matter what you do. You've got a good shot at it if you've got a good cause. So human rights, again, human rights and civil liberties in Russia, the Ukraine, and Belarus. Yes, and there they are. '23, you may remember, but not that long ago, we did a presentation on her. Nargis Mohammadi, civil rights, 20 years fighting civil rights, made her a symbol of freedom and the struggle against Iranian theocracy. And I believe she's still in jail, but I'm not 100% sure. It is not advancing. I'll go back, try again. There we go. Last year, the Confederation against A-bomb and H-bombs, the efforts to free the world of nuclear weapons. Clearly a valuable thing to do. And here is Corina Machado. She won it in 25. This year, she's the winner. She's the one we'll be talking about. She's an activist, prominent leader of the opposition. In the administrations of Hugo Chavez and presently Nicolas Maduro, and we'll get back to those, to Chavez particularly, and of course we're going to talk quite a lot about Maduro, which shows the kind of opposition she was up against, really quite major. Charming woman, and there she is earlier meeting George Bush. So she's been an activist for a long time. She got it for promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela, peaceful alternative to Venezuela's vile, I like the way they termed that, vile autocracy, and she's an inspiration to people across America and around the world. So, good reason for getting it. She's the leader of a democratic movement in Venezuela, which is no small thing, because Machado is, the dictator is a serious man, so it's no small thing to be in the opposition in that country. Engineering, which I thought was different, finance. We'll talk about the Atnia Foundation, and Sumati later on, and she also was a very good campaigner and won more votes. So really very, very dynamic and interesting person. Amazing that she has been as successful as she has been. So here is whom she's been fighting against. Maduro, who is now and has been since 2013 the president of Venezuela. But in fact, he first got in 2006. And as I say, this is a little confusing. Chavez, whom we saw earlier and we'll see again, was in for a while during that regime, during his regime, but they're both on the same page. Both have dictatorial advantages. And so he has been in since 2006. He's married, and not surprisingly, she became the first woman of the National Assembly. And they've been together for years. And he also is tied in with Chavez. I told you this was a little complicated, but it went back and forth essentially between Maduro and Chavez, with his wife also playing a part. Venezuela has really been politically a kind of a mess since 2006 because of the power of the dictator. So he started out okay, but things soon turned bad for him, and the violent machinery of the state. I'm sorry, this is a little confusing, but a lot of people have left the country. The opposition's been suppressed, and it makes political work extremely difficult, as we've seen. And Ms. Machado, who won it, we will get back to her again, as I say, but her big quote was, "It was a matter of balance over bullets." So Maduro is considered a dictator. As I said, he's an authoritarian. Nice things that he's accused of, only a few: electoral fraud, serious human rights abuses, rampant corruption, and severe economic hardship that he's put on the country. And he has supporters in Cuba, China, and Bolivia who think he's a wonderful guy, and a defender of Chavez, back and forth to Chavez. We'll find out a little bit more about him, who was a socialist, but took over the assets of the country for the benefit of the rulers. So what's happened since our friend has been in, there have been shortages, wave of protests constantly since 2014 and before that. And there have been daily marches, suppression in the seat, and a decline in his popularity. But he's still very much in power, despite being stripped of his power and waves of protest. He did not step down. He was sworn in 2019 again. This is after Chavez was in for a while. Maduro got back in, and the president, Juan Guaido, had been making some progress in the National Assembly, but as soon as he got back in, he had him arrested. So this is the main opposition to Maduro, and he was a key figure in the crisis between 19 and 23. He's really been a thorn in Maduro's back all this time. So a little more on Maduro. Raised Roman Catholic. His grandparents were Jewish, and he converted to Catholicism in 2012. So I couldn't find out, but I presume he considered himself Jewish prior to that. So then he became a Catholic. And more recently, he's announced that he is a follower of Satya Sai Baba, whom you may have heard of, quite a famous guru. So nobody said life in Venezuela is straightforward, not at the top, in the middle, or the bottom. But I thought we'd at least consider a little bit about Sai Baba, who is quite a famous in the world of gurus. Of course, he's not got the cleanest life in the world, since he's accused of sleight of hand, sexual abuse, money laundering, fraud, and murder, just for fun. But he still has a huge number of followers. 6,137,000 customers, countries. So I don't know what we can exactly take from that. Crime pays, I'm not sure. It's because he is actually terribly popular, this guy, in the world of gurus. So back to Venezuela and Maduro's reign. They managed to drop 42 places in the World Freedom Index. Actually, almost immediately, they started to fall. Canada, there's 260 countries on the index. Canada ranks 21st, which is actually quite good. It doesn't sound that great, but to be in the top 21 of 260 countries is good. Norway is the number one. And a few of his abuses, 20,000 people have, been subject to, yes, sorry, I had to do a double take on that. I've done a lot of research on this guy. I had not been paying attention. 20,000 people have been subject to extrajudicial killings. So a huge number. He's a genuine bad boy, is Maduro, and we shouldn't ever think that he is not. And 8 million people have left the country.
What's the Press Freedom Index?
The Press Freedom Index ranks countries according to the amount of freedom there is in the press. So again, Canada has a very good spot at 21. As I say, Norway is the top, and then the next 20 or so are countries that, Scandinavian countries, and countries that you would sort of know are likely to have good human rights records. There are no big surprises. So back to our friend Juan Guaido. He, in 2019, so Maduro got back in 2006, went back and forth, and in 2019, Juan Guaido, was part of the opposition, but that didn't stop him from, they won the election. Everyone knew that the opposition had won by a huge margin. So he swore himself back into office, but Maduro, who had clearly lost the election, never stepped down. And so he charged him with money laundering, treason, and usurping public funds. The sort of standard thing. Venezuela really has been put through it. And that is, oops, did this stop working? No? That really is the lesson of this whole show, is how chaotic, I don't know, this is not working, right?
Can you hear you, David?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'll speak up. The whole lesson of the Venezuela experience, a small country that you wouldn't expect to have a huge effect on the world, has had just through sheer bad government, cutting freedoms, stealing money from the people. And Guaido was a hero, but didn't last long. So there have been a whole series of moments where they tried to get rid of Maduro, obviously not successfully. So the National Assembly tried to put him out, freeze his bank accounts. Juan Guaido, who we've just seen, wrote to the Washington Post that he was a usurper and it was time to restore democracy. Government forces repressed with tear gas. Everybody got arrested. And even got Mike Pence called Guaido to assure him that things were going to be okay, which, of course, they weren't. So everybody gets into the act. Now, Maduro, no, there's no such thing as an entirely evil man. So here is this monster, but he loved John Lennon and Led Zeppelin. Can he be all bad? Well, I think he probably was. But anyway, it also gave us a good chance to look at Yoko, 1964 in Montreal. So anyone who was there at the time would remember this. It was a huge deal in the city. I happened to be living at the time, and that we had Lennon and Yoko at the Queen Elizabeth Hotel, which is a very prominent hotel in Montreal. It was a huge deal. And another one of Maduro's fans, Led Zeppelin, didn't know the group as well as I should have, but anyway, that's two shots of Robert Plant, the lead singer in Led Zeppelin. So that's been the little break in the proceedings. We've had the fun. So Guaido, we're back to Guaido. And he, in 73, Maduro kept him on for a while, but in 73, he, when he was away in Colombia, they had him arrested, and he eventually was exiled to the States. So Maduro was counting on his friends in Colombia to do the dirty work, reading between the lines. And Guaido, who now lives in Florida,
The button, can I just check your mic? It's still not working. Just-
Hello, hello. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
Barely. This is
Okay.
sorry, everybody.
He was well paid for one semester. I thought $40,000 wasn't bad. I couldn't find out if that continued for more than one semester. So if anyone offers you $40,000 for a semester, ask what you get the next semester.
It's not, it's still not working.
It's not
Can
working.
everybody
Can you
hear,
hear?
or we can get another mic? Or we would have to,
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Yes, I'll keep
All right, I just
speaking
have to
more
speak
loudly.
up, sorry.
Not at all. So off he went, and now we're going back to, this is going back to Machado, and some of the things that she did. I'm sorry if this is confusing, but it was very difficult to put it all in order and make any sense of it at all. So we're going back to the woman who opposed Machado. This is, anyway, the opposition leader who was against the regime established something called the Etnia Foundation that works for street children in Caracas. So she was constantly doing things against the regime while she was in power. She also established Sumate, which encourages free exercise of political rights on the part of the population, and actually quite a popular movement, as we can see here. She and Edmundo Gonzalez, there they are, tried to protest the 2024 election, which doesn't get you anywhere. She's still in Venezuela. We'll come to that at the end, but she's in hiding. So, I think we say that here. There's little you can say about her. She's been tireless in objecting to this dictatorial regime, and I actually am surprised that she's still alive, and I hope she's hiding in a very safe place, and that the population is protecting her, which is likely, because she certainly has a lot of fans in the country. Yes, I've said much of that before. You can read it, but she did say it was a choice of ballots over bullets, and certainly she has every right to fear the bullet. Now, she's not the first to oppose the regime in Venezuela. This is a group in the opposition in Venezuela in 1928. So a different look, but still a significant number of people who were opposed to that 1928 regime, just to show she's not alone. Now, Chavez is a kind of interesting character, but not that interesting. As the more you find out about him, the less interesting he becomes, and the more like Machado, not Machado, Maduro. Thank you. So he did a lot of work. He was elected while who was still in power. But in any case, he didn't get very far with it, and did exactly the same as the dictator he replaced. He became a dictator as well. Here's Trump's joke. He, of course, has always wanted the Nobel Prize. It's the thing he wants most. He constantly goes on about how he wants it, how he needs it, how he deserves it, and how he thought he was going to get it last year. So, and he did actually thank her and invite her to the White House. And as he said, quite frankly, I didn't say, then give it to me, which is what Trump really wants. And he would have appreciated it if she did give it to him. And of course, Trump never does anything without taking some credit for it. So he implies that in fact he helped her get the Peace Prize, which is just not true. He sort of said, well, she got it because I didn't. He is very, very hung up on the Peace Prize, and it will be interesting to see what they do next year. I'm sure that they are always, as we know, under tremendous pressure. He phones the president of Norway, vice president, the premier of Norway. He's been begging for it. So that's his little joke. That's the joke. She got it because he didn't, basically. She is a hugely important figure in Venezuela. And despite her tremendous popularity, but we shouldn't, when you read about Venezuela or looking at articles, we should never forget how significant her work and power is, and how dangerous, really. She got the number of votes where she should have been able to run for president, but she was prevented from doing so. And that is basically it. Now, you may have questions. This was a difficult one to do because it didn't go boom, 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 boom. But does anyone have questions about